If you play Call of Duty or really any video game, you've definitely raged before. By raging, you may have just yelled at the top of your lungs. You may have started breaking things such as a controller, or you might have punched a hole in the wall. Or if you take raging to the extreme, you may have even broke your entire setup. But the point is, gaming definitely brings the worst out of people and can cause them to do some crazy things. So I want you to comment below right now, what's the craziest thing you've ever done because you've raged, and I can guarantee it won't compare to this story. So if you're new to the channel, don't forget to press that subscribe button and join that trap house with the biggest trapper. And let's get into the craziest rage story of all time. So back in 2011, a 46-year-old man was playing a game of Call of Duty Black Ops with a 13-year-old boy online. And you know, this was probably at the height of like online gaming. Like, it wasn't really new, but it was still new to a lot of people. And obviously, trolling was getting to people way more back then than it is getting to people now. So during the game of Black Ops, the 46-year-old man kept dying and losing, and the 13-year-old boy was teasing and mocking him in game. It even went as far as to teabag his character after his death. And even me now, like, I don't like getting teabagged in no game. I don't like getting trolled. Like, I can handle a troll, like, especially if it's warranted, like I'm playing bad, like, all right, whatever, that's what people do. Like, just imagine you trolling a 50-year-old man in Call of Duty. Like, just imagine, like, he's probably going to get very annoyed. And he ended up getting very annoyed. Now, this 46-year-old man, whose name was Mark Bradford, had got tired of getting trolled by this 13-year-old kid in the game of Call of Duty. Now, I don't know if they knew each other personally or if he doxed him or what the case was. Maybe he gave him his address. I don't know what happened. But what I do know is after the game was over, Mark Bradford, the 46-year-old man, went out of his way to travel 200 yards, which isn't really that far. It's about a 1/10 of a mile. So they live pretty close to each other. So he went from his house to the boy's house, ran inside of the boy's house, and literally strangled him. Yes, he strangled the 13-year-old boy. Mind you, this is a 50-year-old man that has kids, and he went in the house and strangled the boy, and he didn't stop choking him out until the boy's mom came and pulled him off of him and called the cops and things like that. Now, when I said at the beginning that whatever your rage story was, it can't be anywhere near this, I literally meant it. Like, there's no way you guys ever choke somebody out, especially a kid, because you lost a game of Call of Duty. Now, you might have broke something, but you didn't go that far. Now, as a result of all of this happening, Mark Bradford had to go to court. And keep in mind, according to this article, Mark Bradford was a 46-year-old man that had 3 kids of his own. So I'm pretty sure he wouldn't like it if somebody came into his house strangling one of his kids. So it's kind of crazy that a person like I don't know what the kid was saying to him in those games, but it had to be pretty bad for him to react like this. Like, that sounds like literally something you will only see in like Family Guy or like a movie or something like that. It doesn't sound like something that would happen in real life, but it did happen in the UK, which is just insane to me. Now, of course, you can't just go around choking people without any consequences. So as a result of choking out the 13-year-old boy, Mark Bradford then had to go to court, and he ended up taking a plea agreement, which means he admitted to 1 count of beating by assault. And he told the judge that he had just lost it after the boy was continuously gloating him in the game. The judge, whose name was Robert Morgan Jones, said, "Mr. Bradford, you are a 46-year-old man. It is of great concern that you, as an adult, who I would expect to be able to control himself, managed to blur the lines of fantasy and the reality that we actually live in." It just, that statement alone, it's facts. Like, bro, you have to, he's a 46-year-old man. The article says he's unemployed. He has 3 kids, bro. Bro, he probably was just a ticking time bomb, bro. Like, he probably just couldn't wait for a reason to snap. I don't know why the article like chose to highlight the fact that he was unemployed. Like, it made him sound like a real loser. But I mean, obviously that game meant a lot to him because he choked out a 13-year-old boy because of it. The judge continued to say, "In July, you were playing an online game where you could communicate with others, and you were playing against this 13-year-old boy. As a result of what happened during the game, you and the boy started sharing words amongst each other that turned into an argument. Clearly, you, Mr. Bradford, got so upset that you decided to leave your home address and travel over to the boy's house, where you physically confronted the child and put your hands around his neck. The judge added by saying that he doesn't accept whatever the kid said would have caused him to react like that. He was just a vulnerable victim, and placing your hands around his neck put him at great fear and risk of injury. It must have been a very frightening experience for him and his family. And honestly, like, I'm pretty sure anybody would be scared or terrified or anything like that. Like, just he's lucky this happened in the UK, because imagine if this happened in America. Like, imagine if somebody in America just ran in somebody's house and started choking out their kid, bro. Like, they definitely would have got popped, bro. It would have been over. Like, it would have been over for him. He wouldn't even have the chance to make it to jail, bro. Be honest. Anyways, during the case, Bradford ended up being really remorseful and expressed how sorry he was and admitted he was wrong by taking a plea. And all of this was taken into account by the judge, and it ended up helping him out a lot, because he got what would have been a 12-month sentence suspended all the way down into 16 weeks, which is only about 4 months. Now, 4 months in jail is still a long time for anyone, but it's definitely not as bad as a year. And along with his 4-month sentence, he also had to wear an ankle monitor for 8 weeks, and he was given a 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. curfew. And to add insult to injury, he ended up having to pay the kid £80, which is about $101 in USD. So not only did the kid beat him in the game, taunt him in the game, troll him to the point of no return, the kid was essentially the reason why he got 4 months in prison, 8 weeks of an ankle monitor, a 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. curfew, and he had to pay him $100. Like, the kid literally came up in this situation. Like, the kid essentially ruined his life, bro. Like, he didn't ruin his life, but like, bro, you get what I'm saying? Like, 4 months of his life was gonna be bad. He got an 8-week ankle monitor, like, curfew, like, and he lost $100, bro. Like, he tried to spin and choke him out and ended up just ruining at least 4 months of his life. And it could have been worse, because they could have gave him that year, but he expressed his remorse and things like that. If you're wondering what the kid's mom thought about all of this, she did an interview and answered a few of the questions. She said that she thinks it is super pathetic that a grown man would attack a defenseless child like this, and that if you can't handle losing to a child in video games, then you probably shouldn't be playing video games at all. And I gotta say, that's facts. Like, y'all know the #1 rule of gaming or gambling or anything is life, bro. If you can't handle the L, just don't even attempt the risk, bro. You feel me? She also said that she knew Mark Bradford personally, and after she found out what happened, she had went right over to his house and was fuming mad. But instead of arguing and having it out with him personally, she just called the police and got them involved, which probably is the right way to go about it. But I don't think many people, or parents especially, would go about a grown man choking out their son that way, you know? I mean, at least maybe not in America, but in the UK, maybe. But after all of this and during the case and things like that, it was discovered that Bradford did have a few mental health issues that probably led to all of this even happening. And he even commented on the situation after the case was over. He said, "I'd been playing the game the whole day and he just was baiting me and would not shut up. I just lost it in a moment of madness, and I just went to his house and I didn't really know what I was going to do. It wasn't malice, I just grabbed him. I've seen him since this happened and I've apologized." He continued to say that his injuries weren't that bad, but he does regret it. And according to the report, his injuries weren't really that bad, but it was reported that his neck was red and he even had like a scratch on his neck. So I think that's bad enough when it's a 50-year-old man and a 13-year-old kid involved. All I would say is, man, if you can't handle the L, don't play the game, man. And if you can't handle getting trolled, just mute the person, bro. Like, I know this was back in 2011, but muting has always been a feature in games, bro. Or take off the headset, bro. Like, it should never get to that point. But if you enjoyed this video, man, give me a thumbs up. If you didn't, give me a thumbs down. Any feedback is good feedback to me. As always, I appreciate the love and support. If you new, press that red button, join the trappers with the biggest trapper, and I'll catch y'all boys in the next banger, man.
Bye, have a beautiful time.